Boom. And we are live with another episode of the Brown Water Banter podcast. My name is Jared Seymour.
My name is Joe Cage.
That's right. And we got a good show for you in the studio. Chris Powell from C&M Tactical over in Gulfport, man. We're going to be talking about guns, suppressors, the law. I don't know, all things shooting, man. If you like guns and that's the thing that you're into, you might want to stick around for this one. But before we jump into the show, before we get the conversation rolling, we got to thank the people that keep the lights on for us over here at the Brown Water Studios. Dr. Robbie Williams over at Southern Magnolia Smiles. If you're looking for a great local dentist, they are located on Washington Avenue in Ocean Springs. Look them up on Facebook or Instagram at Southern Magnolia Smiles. 2025 is the year to brush your teeth. So when you're ready to book that consultation, give them a shout at 228-215-1202. If you need legal representation, Taylor & Cox Law Firm. They're on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, man. They're in Jackson, George, and Greene County. They specialize in felonies, misdemeanor, DUI, family law, divorce, child custody. Tyler is ready to fight for you, tooth and nail. Whether it be yourself, someone you know, somebody you know that's needs representation, man. Yeah,
Needs some help.
They need some help. Send them over to Taylor & Cox Law Firm. You can give them a shout at 228-696-0111. Tell them that Brown Water sent you and let them take care of you. If you're trying to get back moving around again is what I'm going to go with. Forever Young Men and Women's Health is the one for you. Kendrick, well-versed in all things blending medicine and health together. Their motto actually is bringing medicine, health, and exercise together to help men and women live their best lives. Like I say, they treat men and women. They specialize in testosterone replacement, vitamin replacement. They'll draw some lab work on you, see what you're deficient in, see what they can do to optimize you to get moving around again, to get back in the gym again, to get feeling good again. Forever Young Men and Women's Health. Look them up on Facebook. They got a ton of informational videos out there. He's a former guest of the show. You can go watch that episode. He breaks it down. He knows what he's talking about. When you're ready to book the consultation, give him a shout. 228-363-6623. Tell him the Brown Water sent you.
That's it.
Yeah, there we go. Chris, man, what's up? Thank you for stopping by this evening, jumping in with us. Been a little minute since we did a show, Joey. I'm feeling a little rusty over here. I don't know where all the buttons are anymore. Trying to figure it all out. But thanks for stopping by this evening, brother. C&M Tactical, you're over in Gulfport?
Yeah, right in between Tea Garden and Courthouse. Just had a little brain fart there. But we used to be right there by the 28th Street. But it's just a little bad location for the first 2 years. And, you live and learn with the business, you're just growing and not really growing, but you live and learn there.
Well, you're growing in what you know. You try something and then you, what is it? Everybody's got a plan to get punched in the mouth.
That's
right. You readjust and you keep it going.
Exactly.
We were talking before we went live, man. You're a former St. Martin
Yep.
guy? I knew I liked you.
Yellow jacket.
So my mom actually taught at St. Martin. She was one of the special ed teachers. So that we lived in D'Iberville, but me and my sister both graduated from St. Martin. I graduated in 99. My sister did in 93.
Okay.
So just,
So you've been here. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah. You're from the community.
Coast. So I graduated from 1999, literally July 13th. My big butt was on the yellow footprints out in San Diego and joined the Marines right after high school. Didn't go on the senior trip. Went straight to San Diego for my senior trip. So
a little different than going to Mexico.
Did that for 12 and a half years, infantry.
Damn.
4 combat tours. So all in Iraq.
I was about to say that time frame, you got to get all up in it, didn't you?
Never got to go to Afghanistan. Basically 9/11 happened. Did 2 Okinawa deployments, not really going to Afghanistan.
So 99 you graduated, went straight in. So you were in 2000, right? Right.
Yep.
So you were already in the Marines when
2000 was my first unit at Lejeune up in North Carolina.
You didn't drink the water, did you?
Yeah, I drank the water.
Damn it.
I gotta get checked. I get checked all the time.
Did you sign up? I've seen your commercial.
I've signed up. Yeah.
Okay. Good deal. Bad. I don't know. Good or bad.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I know I don't look like I'm a Marine, but I used to be a Marine. Everybody always says it's not how old you are, it's the miles. I have the miles.
You got the mileage. So go ahead.
So did that. Actually, I had got injured. I had gotten into a car accident when 9/11 happened. So I had broken my hand, and my battalion was actually in the air on the way to California to do mountain warfare training.
Wow.
And I got stuck behind because, obviously you can't do anything.
As
a mortarman, you got to use your hands. So I literally got trained how to do the mail. So I was collecting the mail. Yep. Collecting the mail. Yeah. So collecting the mail for the battalion.
All right.
Walking through our BA station, and they had CNN on. I walk in, and the first plane hits the towers, and I'm like, "What movie are y'all watching?"
Right.
And
graphics looks
yeah,
too real.
It's like that's pretty cool. And then my corpsman buddy was like, "No, dude, this is CNN."
Yeah.
And literally right when he said CNN, it's like the second plane hit, and I'm like, "Oh crap,
this is not good."
Next thing I know, I'm still got a cast on my hand, but I'm sitting on top of the armory, like mounting a 50 cal, watching the Domino's delivery car because you couldn't leave base because they locked it down.
Right.
Just circle around the blocks 20 billion times.
You got locked in
because they couldn't go home.
Yeah, and y'all went on like high alert. I'm assuming, right? Like you said, mounting the 50 cals on stuff because nobody knew what was going to happen.
Nobody knew exactly what was going to happen. So the battalion went to Bridgeport. They did their month-long training, and they came back. And then we still did our UDP to Okinawa. Went to Okinawa, did some training over there. Tokyo, all those Southeast Asia, all that stuff. Got back to the States in 2000, at the end of 2002. I was like, I'm getting out. Started talking to my dad. It's like, hey, what's available on the coast as a job for an infantry guy? And my dad's like, there's nothing going on here. I'm like, okay.
So maybe I won't.
Well, no, I was still like, well, then I guess I'll just go to college and use the GI Bill, and I'll come. I was getting married. I was like, we'll just live with mom and dad, and I'll go to school. And she does dialysis. She was doing dialysis then, so she can get a dialysis job down here on the coast.
Yeah.
Hers is basically she could do dialysis anywhere. So we got married in 2002, goes into 2003, March kicks off, and we go to a war, and we kick off in our, IF1 kicks off in March. They're like, all right, well, since 1-6 was the battalion I was in, they were actually designated to actually go deploy to Afghanistan. So they weren't in the rotation to go to in the initial push. So what they did is they took all the single guys that were getting ready to get out and pushed them to 2-6 and 3-6 as body, beef up those battalions.
Right.
Married guys, hey, you were going to stay behind and just, guess what? You're cleaning the battalion or whatever.
Right.
Okay. All right. I'm not going. 2 weeks later, I get notifications like, hey, you're going to be a body replacement and you're going to 7th Marines.
That sounds intimidating.
Yeah. So that happens. And then we get to Kuwait. And next thing you know, I'm just doing security.
How's the hand at this point?
Oh, at that point it healed up. But then I had gotten drunk one night.
Here we go.
Yeah.
That's how it happens.
Right. I mean, you're a Marine.
Typical Marine. My buddy wasn't really paying attention. We were been drinking, but then we were trying to get our stuff into storage before we left. And I was getting ready to step out of his truck, and he decides to gun it. And truck goes this way, and my big 200-pound self goes this way, and I landed on my elbow. And so I fractured the elbow. So at that point, I'm like doing physical therapy the entire time I'm over, and I finally got it where I could actually somewhat, I can't fully. So I'm just a walking broke Marine at this point.
But you still went.
I still went. Everything went. I went there. Like I said, we did security for the 7th Marines. Like we did just resupply runs going up into to Baghdad to the bush.
You're a mortarman at this point.
At this point, yeah.
Okay. And never got out, right? I heard that part of the story, right? You didn't get out.
I didn't get out.
Yeah.
So basically, what happened was I got TAD to a unit. The unit that I was in, I was going to be what they call a terminal lance, which means I was never going to pick up E4.
Okay.
Yeah, like my platoon commander hated me. My platoon sergeant hated me.
Yeah, because you were always getting hurt.
Well, yeah, I was
outside of war.
Outside of war. This guy getting hurt. Just whatever. I wasn't the greatest Marine. I'll be the first one to say it. But when we started actually doing our job over there, I was like, this is actually doing what I had trained for 3 years.
Right.
Like, this is the greatest thing ever.
Right.
While I was TAD'd, my battalion tried to non-rec me for corporal because I had the score to get corporal. Well, they tried to non-rec me. Well, my wife's best friend at the time, her husband was a master gunnery sergeant who was an administrative Marine. He tells my wife, he's like, hey, he's TAD'd. Yeah, he's TAD'd. His battalion they cannot non-rec him while he's TAD'd to another unit. If that unit does not non-rec him, he can be promoted.
Wow. Nice. Loophole.
Yep. Loophole. So April 1st, which is always funny.
Right.
April Fool's.
Yep. So April 1st, my wife is in the S1 shop. Actually, first thing she goes into the battalion so I was with weapons company. So she goes into weapons company and she goes, I'm here to pick up Chris's warrant, which is what you get promoted with.
Okay. Different in the civilian world.
Warrants are good in the military.
Yeah.
And my platoon commander goes, well, he's not promoted. We non-rec him. And she goes, is that your final answer?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, yeah, we non-rec him. So she goes to the CEO, my company commander, and she goes, I'm here to pick up Chris's warrant. And he's like, no, I got the non-rec here on my desk.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, who signed his non-rec? Well, it's not signed. Okay, so where's Chris? Oh, well, he's TAD.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, okay, where's his warrant? And they kept
giving her
runaround. She goes, okay. So she goes up to the S1 office. Well, the S1 office has the battalion commander's office, sergeant major's office, and the not the adjutants, but the crap. Now I'm having a brain fart. But
you've been out for a while. Don't worry.
I have,
yeah. Don't worry
but
about
the second guy in command.
Yeah, important people.
Yeah, that's the important people. So she walks into the S1 office, goes into the administrator, the admin chief, and goes, "I'm here to pick up Chris's warrant." He goes, "Who?" And she goes, "Oh, I'm my bad. Corporal Powell's warrant."
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Oh, we don't have a warrant for him. He got non-rec'd. Show me the signature."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, he's TAD. So the admin chief automatically
figured it out.
Well, she starts throwing a fit. The second in command comes in. I can't believe I'm having a brain fart. People are gonna be like, "Yeah, he was in the military."
You've been out for a while.
Yeah, I've been out longer than I actually was in now. So anyway,
blame it on TBI.
Yeah, absolutely. So he comes out and starts asking questions like, "Hey, what's going on?" My wife's like, "Well, they non-rec'd him and he's TAD." And he went high and to the right. Like, yeah, we can't non-rec him if he's TAD. I get back in 1st of May when it all George, it's over. They put us on a plane. We come back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that welcome home I got back from my battalion, my platoon commander was not the greatest.
He was not happy with your.
So
you're a Marine. You're not supposed to be thinking for yourself, right?
Exactly. So I get home, and of course, you always have who can promote you. You have to have an officer, and who anybody can promote you.
Mm-hmm.
So I had my battalion, or not the battalion commander, but I had my platoon commander who didn't like me, and my platoon sergeant who absolutely didn't like me at that time, especially now because my wife made them look silly.
Mm-hmm.
They promoted me to corporal.
Begrudgingly.
Yeah, very begrudgingly. I probably still have the marks where my chevrons went into my shoulder blades.
Right.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to re-enlist. And they're like, oh, no, you're not. We've already got all your stuff signed, ready for you to check out
the door.
Wow. Even at that time, they hated you that much.
They
didn't want you to stay in.
They didn't want me to stay in.
Wow.
We need everybody but you.
Yeah.
Everybody but you. Yeah.
Yeah. We need a lot of people, but
so either way, they're like, all right, go run a PFT.
Oh,
okay. I went and for the first time, actually, so I've always been a second class PFT. So you got first class, second class, and third class. And the master guns that actually helped get me promoted was like, that's the reason why we have the different classes. Like, if the standard was supposed to be everybody be a first class PFT, that would be the standard. Mm-hmm. Not everybody's going to be that 300 PFT first class. So basically, I ran a low first class PFT.
Okay.
Because basically, when I was not on patrol with the convoy providing security, my big butt was in the gym.
Yeah.
So
it's on the ship.
I had nothing else to do. So my pull-ups went from 8 to 12, which, that's points. 100 crunches. And then of course I helped with a little bit, running out in the desert really did help.
I bet.
I looked like I had cancer, but I was skinny as all get out when I got back. Of course, because you can't eat any fast food.
Yeah.
No fast food.
No Chick-fil-A.
No Chick-fil-A. Yeah, definitely no Chick-fil-A. So all that, and they're like, all right, well, what do you want to do? And I originally wanted to go to Parris Island because that's where a lot of my buddies that had re-enlisted went to go be firearms instructors.
Okay.
Needs of the Marine Corps. We need combat instructors. I'm like, what the heck's a combat instructor? Like, remember all those security patrols you did? And I'm like, yeah, you're now going to teach the non-infantry guys how to do those patrols because we don't have enough infantry guys to actually help do that.
Right.
So for about 2003 to 2005, that's what I did, Monday through Friday. Pick up a class, teach them classroom instruction. Friday, infantry guys versus non-infantry guys, see who wins, see if they learned anything.
Right.
Saturday off, Sunday off. 05, 04, 05, you got Fallujah. Well, at that time, the unit that I was with was called Second FSSG, which later transferred to Second Marine Logistics Group. The general at that time decided that he was going to be over there for a year. So what he decided that his personal security team was not going to be made up of, basically he was going to take the infantry guys that were in Second MLG.
Right.
I got selected, and then a friend of mine got selected. Well, I was supposed to go for the first 7 months. He was going to go for the second 7 months. That first 7 months was going to be during, I'd have been home for Christmas. At the time, me and the wife didn't have kids. My buddy had kids. I said, you know what?
You're a good friend.
I said, you know what? You go the first 7 months. I'll go so that way you can be home in time for Christmas.
Yeah.
I said, I ain't got kids. It's just me and the wife. Whatever. He goes over there. 6.5 months later, I've already moved my wife into my mother-in-law, back to my parents, or her parents' house in Charlotte. I'm living in the barracks. Like I'm living out of Seabag. I get notification that the general wants everybody that's already over there is now staying the full year. So he got stuck. But I'm like, I don't have a house. I don't have my wife here. So I went to my first sergeant and I said, I'm going. And which is funny is because I walked in, first sergeant's office here, and then there's chairs here that you're waiting for. There's like 4 or 5 sergeants here. And I'm like, what the hell are y'all waiting on? I go knock on the first sergeant's door. And he goes, yeah. I walked in there and poured into him. I was like, first sergeant, I'm going. I was like, I don't care I don't care who I'm going with, what I'm going with, or I'm going. He opens the door, sticks his head out, and he goes, look, all you, I'm trying not to cuss anymore, but he goes, look at all you he goes, y'all are crying not to go, and he's begging to go. So I go over there at the tail end of Fallujah with Combat Logistics Regiment 25. This regiment is about 1,500 Marines. Out of 1,500 Marines, there's 2 that have an 03 MOS. One's a reservist, and then you got me. So the colonel that's in charge of this logistics regiment comes up to me and goes, wherever I go, you're going.
Now, when you say a 03 MOS, you weren't a 03.
Yeah, I was 03. So my MOS is 0341, which is so you got 0311, which is your basic infantry rifleman.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking 03 as rank.
No, 03. Yeah, 03, that's officer rank.
Yeah, correct. That's why I was confused.
No, so the MOS 03, that's infantry.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
so you're following a general around at this point.
Colonel.
Colonel.
He's like, yeah, he goes, I'm never going to be a general. So
he knew.
And, his favorite thing used to be just like we would put quotes on the board, and he had a 16-year-old daughter at the time, and she always wanted a horse, and his quote was like, I've been dealing with people shit for 30 plus years. It's like, there's no way in hell I'm dealing with horse shit.
Right.
And he would put that every day as the quote.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I got I got tasked a lot of times to going out because like he would go to Ramadi, which was another the Chris Powell area, Ramadi, Fallujah, been to Baghdad, all those little places with him that we had to go, different places. And
what are you doing as a mortarman at this time? Or are you not that MOS anymore? Now you're I'm security detail?
No, I'm still got the designator. He's just using me as his own personal security.
Okay.
Bodyguard.
At that time, I was actually like a watch officer.
Okay.
Which is rather funny because a watch officer is actually an 03.
Yeah.
And here I was an E5.
Right.
Like newly promoted E5. And I was maintaining, my billet at the time was an 03. So like I was an enlisted doing an officer's job.
Right.
And then they finally got an officer. And then so they bumped me over and they're like, all right, yeah, you can do an E8's job. Basically what it was I was coordinating convoys.
Okay.
So wherever the convoys were going, like if they needed support or whatever, I would get the support. And, if they needed to test fire their guns before the convoy went out, I would, set up the range times so that they go get stuff like that. And then
what's a range look like when you're in Iraq?
Sand, basically Connex boxes that are cut in half with sand in them and just shoot 50 cals into them.
Just blowing stuff up.
Yeah. Just to make sure they work. Of course, the Mark 19s, which are the grenade launchers, you can't really test fire those.
Okay. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
It's a bummer. So needless to say.
One might accidentally go off.
Correct.
Yeah. Those you don't really want to test fire too close. So.
Yeah.
I think about the videos you see where the guys that go to throw the grenade, like I guess in basic or something.
They throw the pin.
They pull the pin, drop the grenade, throw the pin.
And that's what and when I was that combat instructor,
you saw shit like that.
No, that's part of the stuff that we did. And I've had quite a few times where I've had to throw. This is the funniest. She was 5'3", and I think with her flat jacket on, she maybe weighed 140 pounds.
Right.
And she was shaking like a leaf the minute I handed her that grenade. And I'm like, I just know
this is not going well.
This is not going to go well. My master sergeant sitting over at the other side of it. And I'm like, I just looked at my master sergeant. I'm like, I'm going to toss her.
Right.
And I give her the commands. I was like, all right, twist, pull, pin. Twist, pull, pin. Prepare to throw.
Right.
Prepare to throw. Throw. And the next thing I know, all I can see is her do this.
Oh, God.
And it rolls between my legs.
In slow motion.
It's all in slow motion, and I can still see it to this day. Thank God that she had one of the new flak jackets. The new flak jackets have the carry on the back. Grab the carry, grab this. Next thing you know, I wish somebody was recording it because the next thing they said it looked like you ever see one of the Muppets when they ever throw a Muppet?
Yeah.
The arms are like this. They said she looked just like that. She maybe went about 15 feet. I come rolling over just as the grenade's getting ready, I roll over to the safety side of and the grenade goes off. And I roll at the feet of my master sergeant, and I'm like,
told you.
Yeah.
I looked up and I'm like, I'm going home. And he's like, yeah, go home.
Yeah.
And I was like, my day's done. I get home. My wife's like, you're home early. I'm like, yeah, I had a grenade go off at my feet. And
right.
She goes,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you got the early out today.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a way to get early out.
Yeah. So went through all through that. I was supposed to go, and I really wish I would have done this, was supposed to go through recruiting duty, which would have helped advance my career. But at the time, we were trying to get pregnant. And IVF was the only way we could get pregnant. Mm-hmm. And Hawaii was basically the only state that if you had insurance, they would cover it.
Yeah.
So I re-enlisted. 1-3 was getting back from Afghanistan. And I was told, well, 1-3 is not going to be in the rotation for anything. Wrong.
Got you again.
I said, okay, I'll go to 1-3. I get to 1-3 and we get back there and I check in. And the next thing I know is they're like, hey, Sergeant, guess what? In 6 months, we're going to be in Iraq.
You're like, I've already been there. I don't.
I'm like, yeah. I was talking to the battalion commander. I'm like, yeah, sir, are we serious? He's like, you're going. It's like, y'all just got back from Afghanistan. And they're like, yeah, we're going back to Iraq. We're going to Haditha Dam. I'm like, cool, thanks.
Let me get out.
No, I had already signed the papers.
Yeah.
So we go to Haditha Dam. Literally, so we stop at TQ, was where I was just at for 7 months. We're only there for like 2 days. I'm going into the chow hall to get something to eat. And the guys behind the chow hall, which are like Indian nationals, Sergeant Powell, what's up? You're like, you just left.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I know. I just got
Welcome back.
welcome back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
You
thanks.
don't say.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So while you're over there, you're around a lot of military style weapons.
Mhm.
Is that when your
interest peaked?
Yeah, I mean,
no. So I was a hunter. My grandfather taught me how to hunt. I did Boy Scouts, obviously with the Boy Scout tattoo that I got on my in honor of my grandfather's. So I've done shooting like basically since I was little.
okay.
Through the Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts. I hunted with my grandfather and my cousins. I fished with my cousins. I haven't really done much fishing since I've been back home. So just guns are just the natural thing. I really didn't want to go to college when I graduated.
Okay.
So
You knew
military,
it.
yeah, military was just going to be the thing that everybody was like, yeah, he's going to the military. It was either going to be the Army or the Marines.
That was my
Yeah.
next question. Why the Marines? What made you make that decision?
Well,
Crayons.
Yeah.
yeah, the red ones taste just like cherry. So, yeah. So actually, I had already signed. Like I was in the delayed entry program for the Army,
Okay.
and because my great uncle went through the Battle of the Bulge. I was like,
Oh
Wow.
wow.
and before he passed away in 1990,
Was he in the Army?
yeah, he was in the Army.
Yeah.
Yeah. Battle of the Bulge, Normandy, all those, and he jumped.
Yep.
Through all of those, and that's what I wanted to do.
He was a bad dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He had this is the greatest story ever for him, but he had a French lady tattooed on him that had big boobies.
Yeah.
And he had BBs put underneath them, so that way when he flexed his arms, her boobies would dance. So like when you're a little kid, that's the greatest
Yeah.
thing ever.
Hey,
yeah.
come look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, let you drink coffee. Oh yeah, just
Yeah.
the greatest. And,
Yeah. He's like, I've fought the Germans. You can drink
Yeah.
coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a field actually in France that they did a night jump. And this is another one of his great stories, which is actually true because it's in the book that they wrote about his unit. He landed in the field, which is his name is James. His first name's James Stevens, and the field is called James.
Okay.
He landed in the farmer's barn. Well, he found the stash. Well, he hurt his leg. That's where he got one of his Purple Hearts.
Mhm.
He found the stash of the farmer's wine.
Sweet.
Nice.
So for
We're taking that.
Yeah.
for the 3 days that he evaded the Germans in the barn, he was drunk off his ass.
I like it.
So
Might as well be.
yeah. So I wanted to follow in his footsteps and go in the Army. Well, I got a phone call, and it's the Marine recruiter. Marine recruiter goes, "Hey," I'm like, "Dude, I'm in the delayed entry for the Army. Let me just talk to you."
Right.
So he comes in, and of course, obviously, he's in his uniform. Like, all right, well, that's pretty snazzy.
Yeah.
That's snazzy.
Impressed.
Shows a video. Next thing I know, my mom comes in, and I'm like, "Oh, Chase, Mom, I'm going to the Marines." And my mom's like, "What? Where'd this come from?" Nobody in my family is
The video.
Right.
Yeah,
Video.
yeah,
You
the
just
video.
showed
Yeah,
the
it showed me-
video.
Plus that
video.
sword he's got.
Yeah.
Did they have the sword on that uniform?
No, it didn't have the NCO sword. But,
Okay.
but yeah, I did see the lava monster, and I'm still kind of
Yeah, I remember that
still
from TV.
Yeah, still kind of
He hits it with the sword.
He hits it
doesn't
with
he?
the- yeah, he hits it with the sword.
Yeah.
still. Even when I went to Hawaii, I didn't sit. Still,
Never met
Never
him.
saw-
Yeah.
Never got to slay a lava monster.
Yeah.
Still mad about
Elusive.
that. Yeah.
Elusive.
Proud.
Yeah.
The Marines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I had a drunk uncle that just kept telling me that I would never make it.
So you're like, I'm going to show you.
I was like,
Trump.
I'm going to prove it to you that I'm going to.
Yeah.
Do. And then my grandma was like, yeah, you're the only Marine out of the whole family. And it's still true to this day. Everybody else, Air Force.
How does that work family dynamics wise when you come home? So I think I just heard you say you got Air Force, you got Army.
I got Air Force, Army. I have an uncle that is a retired chief out of the Navy.
Okay.
So
you got your bases covered pretty much.
Yeah.
Do you get to eat first?
Well, how does that go as far as
I'm a
like
Marine.
flexing?
I do flex on them a lot.
Yeah. You
just-
can't flex on your grandpa though.
No,
He fought the Nazis.
no.
That's
So
uncle.
that's my uncle.
Oh, I'm sorry, your uncle. You
My-
can't flex on him.
My my mom's dad never joined the military. My uncle is a great uncle, more of like a cousin. But of course down here,
We all related.
Great,
Yeah.
great cousins are uncles. You don't call
Yeah.
them a cousin;
Right.
you're an uncle. But my grandfather on my dad's side did fight in the Navy in Korea.
Mm.
And so he was stationed on the USS Missouri. So being stationed in Hawaii, I did get to go see. He was a a flagman for the admiral. So wherever the admiral went, my grandfather went with him. So most of the time, the admiral was on the Missouri. So that's where my grandfather was during Korea.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my grandfather fought in Korea, great uncle in World War II. I don't know which other relatives, but my grandmother has said that we've had relatives that have fought majorly, basically in every.
Right.
Yeah.
But she just, Lord, I mean, she's 93 right now. So
yeah, but so we could see where you get your passion for military, for guns, for that kind of lifestyle. And so you said 12 years. Is that what you told me? 12 years.
So I did 12 and a half. So I did two tours. I did 2 more tours over while I was stationed over in Hawaii. That ended really badly, and that was kind of the downfall of my career. The last tour that I did in 2008, my guys trying to kind of as like a going away, kind of, hey, we're gonna get the old man. We were in we were getting ready to come home, and I was getting ready to leave. Me and another sergeant, we were getting ready to go somewhere, and my guys thought it would be hilarious to try to jump the old man. So I had one guy come up behind me, try to get me, and so I'm throwing him off. Another guy throwing him off. Well, one of my big boys come up behind me and grabbed me and lift me up. Well, he lost his footing and slipped, and I basically landed on this shoulder, dislocated this one.
God, you have no luck.
Yeah.
I have no luck. So I dislocated this one. I hit first, and then he landed on top of me, which is probably what dislocated it even more. So to not get my guys in trouble, I basically just told the corpsman, I was like, hey, just set it, put it back in. I'll deal with it when we get back home. No, they set it. Well, they didn't set it correctly because they didn't really have it x-rayed to see exactly. So I went back. Yeah. So I went back, finally got home. I said, all right, so we're going to try to keep this off the record. So I had my wife's private insurance. So I went to the hospital and they're like, yeah, you need surgery. And I'm like, I can't have surgery on the shoulder. Just
do what you can.
Do what you need to do. So I was doing my stuff. I was getting ready. I was doing a PFT actually. Went up to go do a pull-up and it popped out of place. Got put on light duty, wasn't able to do any lifting, wasn't able to do anything, couldn't run, couldn't do anything. And I'm one of those guys that when I hit 30, the metabolism just. So I swallow spit, I gained 5 pounds. So I got put on the big boy program, and that started a whole downward spiral of it. And I just was like, you know what? Some bad things had happened. We had gotten pregnant. We had gotten a new sergeant major that just didn't want, was trying to make a name for himself. I was hurt, stress. My wife has, it's a rare mutation that actually attacks the umbilical cord.
Okay.
Wow.
So difficult pregnancy.
Pregnancy.
All right.
24 weeks, my wife goes into labor. Well, I'm on light duty, but the battalion takes me out to California. So she's in Hawaii by herself, and she goes into labor and delivers our boys, and we lose our boys.
Oh, shit. They were twins?
Twins, yeah.
Okay.
So we had the IVF. She did another. So we did one cycle in 2007. It didn't take. And then we did another cycle right before I got back in 2008, and it took. Well, no. So I re-enlisted in 2008. Got back, we did like a family vacation to Tokyo. We did like 10 days over in Japan, and we got back, and then we had money because they only pay for the first one, and then you got to pay half of the second.
That's freaking expensive too.
Yeah.
So I got like $25,000 tax free when I re-enlisted. So I was like, paid off a car, went on a vacation, and then we did that. And then of course I bought me a 50 cal gun. Of course.
Why wouldn't you?
Why not?
Why wouldn't you?
So, but then, so she gets pregnant. Sergeant Major's like, he's like, I don't think your wife's pregnant. My wife, being the non-confrontational woman that she is, goes, we're at a battalion function. She goes straight up to the Sergeant Major and she goes, being
Mhm.
pregnant with twins at 23 weeks, she goes, I can guarantee you most. And then I get called into the office and he goes, oh, you should contain your wife. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
Good luck.
Good luck.
Why don't you try that?
I was
for
like,
you?
yeah. So stress, all that
Just
stuff.
decided it was time.
It's time to get out of it.
Well, I initially had re-enlisted to go on to my recruit duty orders to further my advance. Like, so if I'd have went to recruiting duty and did good on recruiting duty, I probably would have made my next rank and I wouldn't have been able to retire. My plan at that time was, all right, I've already done 4 combat tours. My body can't do anymore. It's like I physically can't do the infantry stuff anymore.
Mhm.
My goal was I was going to go do my 4 years or 3 years on recruiting duty and then be a terminal recruiter, which means I was just going to stay in the recruiting field. Like,
Right.
I would go to the recruiting school and teach, pick up the next rank and just be an administrator through
Mhm.
and just hit 20 years and be like,
Mail it in.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah. Done with
Yay. I got my combat action ribbon. Yay.
it. Yeah.
So that didn't happen because when I got on the weight control, the sergeant major was trying to kick me out of the Marine Corps for the weight. I fought it while I was over in California. I literally, again, went back to, I was 5 pounds away from being where they had to force me to eat to gain weight.
Mhm.
I looked horrible. I looked like I had cancer. My wife's like, yeah, don't ever do that again.
Mm-mm.
He canked the orders. I requested masks. The colonel that I had actually served with in 07 was the regimental commander. So I went for him and he's like, you served with me in 07. I was like, yes, sir, I did. Because when I went to see him, I had the battalion shirt on that his battalion shirt on when I went to go see him. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to play this.
Butter him up.
Exactly. So he's like, you can go anywhere you want to go. And what I should have said was, I want my recruiting orders. At that point, I was so mad. And I just wanted to get out of Hawaii. I said, I'll go to Paris Island. I don't care. Just get me away.
Mhm.
They're like,
Here you go, bud.
Yep.
Yeah.
So wife has babies. They send me back to Hawaii. Basically, they try to charge me with UA because I wouldn't leave the hospital. And that was another, I'm like, you know
Fiasco.
what? That was another fiasco. I went into the next day, I went into the S1 office. I said, look, I'm going to be at the hospital until the day she gets out.
Mhm.
I said, if you want to find me, this is where I'm going to be at.
Right.
And the guy that remained behind was like, okay, I got you. I was like, yeah, I'm glad we can see eye to eye.
Yeah.
So she gets out of the hospital. Battalion comes back. I go into the S1. It's like, I want my checkout sheet now. And I grab my checkout sheet. 2 days. Usually Marines kind of drag it out to checkout.
Yeah. 2 days.
2 days. I had everything ready. I had the car ready to ship. I had everything. The house turned over. I said, I'm ready to go now.
Yep.
Where's my plane tickets? I needed one more signature, and that was the sergeant major signature. I'm like, this is. So I went to my first sergeant. I was like, first sergeant, can you come with me? Because I wanted to make sure there was going to be no issues. He's like, yeah, sure. Come on, we'll go. I get in there. I was like, sergeant major. It's like, I'll report in. And I just sarcastically report in because I don't want to be a vengeful person, or I just don't want to have hate anymore in my life. But if he was on fire, I would dump gasoline on him in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I go in there, I get his signature. He says something that to this day, I hope he rots in hell for.
Yeah.
And my first sergeant just grabs me, throws me out the room. I can hear my first sergeant, him arguing. I'm like, oh, okay. Battalion commander comes out and he goes, oh, Sergeant Powell comes. So I was like, yes, sir. And he comes talking to me. We start talking. And he's like, yeah, me and my wife had lost a baby, and started talking about. Well, my first sergeant huffs off thinking I'd already left. So our major pokes his house up. Sees I'm talking to the battalion commander. He goes, well, I told you to leave. The battalion commander says, oh, I called him in. Oh, okay, sir. Next day, me and wife get on a plane, gone from Hawaii. Haven't been back since.
Yeah. So
Then
out of the military.
Yeah.
Out of the military.
Well, we get to Paris Island. Paris Island is actually where I actually get that was the best 3 years actually of the time I was in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
I got taught so much knowledge of marksmanship that's where I got my love of guns. Like my passion came back for firearms is there.
Okay.
Right.
Teaching the recruits. If I could have went there and just
Done that from the get, you'd have been in a whole different
it'd
situation.
been in a whole different situation. Like
Okay.
I probably would have been like, oh, I'm gonna be a drill instructor, or
Right.
just
Forever.
just to stay at.
That was your last 3 years?
That was the last 3 years in South Carolina.
Okay.
So I got out, and I know the date, May 25th, and I'll probably never forget it. May 25th, 2012 was the day I officially became unemployed for the first time in 12 and a half years. I was like, all right, what am I going to do? I got no job. Because the CB base was actually had a contract for instructors to teach the CB guys. No callback.
Okay.
Really?
Yep. Never got a callback. I'm like, that's strange. So I'm like, all right. So I called my wife and I'm like, yeah, I got my DD 214. What am I going to do? You're still working for another 6 hours. I'm going to go to a movie. Well, I had forgot I had applied to this manufacturer company down in Georgia. And so I'm on the way to the movies and they call. So Daniel Defense gives me a call on the way to the movies and like, yeah, we'd like for you to come in and interview. Okay. So I was like, all right, when I was like, I got nothing. I said, when's the best time for y'all? So I went down there like about a week, go down there and I interview with Cindy Daniels, who's the co-owner, and the HR lady, Donna Carter, who's, I don't know if she's still there. She's the one that hired me and the one that fired me. But we start going, they start asking me questions and I start like, yeah, this is this and this and this and this. And they're like, oh, so you have a vast knowledge of an A4, M4 platform. I'm like, I hope so.
Yeah. Seen it a bunch of times.
Said I've only been carrying it for 12 and a half years. So there I learned the ins and outs of the A4. So that's another thing that I love about now the A4 platform is basically the Lego system for men. I can take them all apart, put them back together, make them any which way I want. And love doing it.
How long did you work for Daniel Defense?
So I worked for them for about 5 years. Worked up from,
where are they out of?
They're out of Black Creek, Georgia.
Okay.
But at the time they actually had two places. So they had the Black Creek, Georgia, was where they did like the barrels and lowers and stuff like that. But they had another place that they did like the uppers and the actual assembly in Ridgeland, which is where we bought a house. So like literally like the plant was here. My house was like 5 minutes down the road. So like I'd wake up in the morning and be like,
walk to work.
Yeah.
Like I got to be at work in 10 minutes, brush my teeth, take my meds, get in the car, clock in 1 minute before it's time to be there. And they're like, oh, you're here. Yeah. Like, oh, wow, you're never late.
Like,
That's
my house.
I
right
walk.
there.
I jumped the fence to get here.
Right over there.
Yeah. So I started out building them. About 6 months, I had gotten, they put me up to quality control where I was actually like inspecting people that were the other guys that were building them. So I started quality control, checking them, shooting them. Did that for a while. Then they were like, okay, let's move you to customer service. Okay. So they moved me to customer service. So basically what they had me doing was all the guns that were coming back, I'd fix the guns that would come back.
Right.
At that time, I kind of worked myself out of a job. So like I would get the delivery trucks would be there at 8:00. I would get the gun. I would take it into the shoot house. I'd shoot it, see what was wrong with it, get the parts that I needed to fix it, fix the gun. And by the time the 5:00 truck was there to pick up everything, their gun was already back out. So the guys were getting their guns back in 24 hours.
Well, you would think that would be a great thing.
Yeah,
That was a great
service.
service. Yeah.
But then I started, like I said, I worked myself out of them when I didn't have any guns to come work in. I was like, And they're like, all right, just answer the phone. Yeah, what's wrong with your gun? Oh, it's not shooting. Did you switch it to fire?
Yeah.
Oh, your gun works now. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of didn't like that. So they were going to fire me. And then my buddy that was the actual manager, and I was like, all right, we're going to do, they decided that they were going to do a day and a night shift. And my buddy was in charge of day, and he goes, hey, let's just put Chris in charge of the night. So they put me in charge of the night shift, and they were doing 1,200 guns in the morning, and we were doing 1,200 guns at night. So, almost 2,500 guns were getting out a day at Daniel Defense.
That's build all the way up.
Build all the way out, box, the whole caboodle, ready to go ship.
Wow.
And that was during the Obama craze. So,
Yes, that's when I got mine. I bought one of those guns.
Daniel
did?
Defense.
2011.
Yeah.
It
Daniel
may,
Defense.
it may
Bought
have
two.
It may have my initials on it.
Yeah, on a little thing that you
Yeah, the little
sign.
it says
I'm gonna check it.
yeah, it may have C Powell on it or
I'm gonna
CP
check
on
it.
it.
That would be so cool if it did. I'm gonna send you a photo of it.
So
Yeah. We'll get you signed again.
Yeah. Take a picture with it.
yeah. So, and then what happened with my release was there was a lady that was working there that her mom worked at Columbine, or not Columbine, but what's Sandy Hook?
Yeah.
That school shooting. Yeah.
Yep. And me being the shooter that I am, I kind of was like, there's no way this kid shot those kids like that.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I've been shooting professionally like that for years. I can't make those shots.
Yeah.
That
Something didn't add up.
That wasn't a good thing to say, was it?
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't. And so she was the way to get me all the time. So we had this one order that was going to Lipsy's, and they somehow had always messed it up. Like it was the wrong barrels. It was something was always messed up. We got told that, hey, the truck is leaving tomorrow at 9:00. We need at least 1,300 guns on the truck so that way they can at least, no problem. We start building through it, and I start looking at the build plan of it, and I looked at the barrels, and I was like, son of a, and he's like, what? I was like, these are the wrong barrels. And what happened was the morning people were building the upper receiver groups, and we were supposed to just do the lowers to put them together and shoot them, box them, and get them ready to go. And I'm like, these are the wrong barrels. Cindy was there, and I showed her. I was like, these are the wrong barrels. And she looked at them. She goes, these are the wrong barrels. Everything stopped. Got the right barrels, got them drilled and pinned, got everything done with them. We stayed until about 3:00 that morning, had all of the complete order was done, shot, cleaned, boxed, ready to go. Everything was correct. My guys show up at 2:00. I get there at like 1:30 just so that way I can have my little conversation with the morning guy so that way we can
pass it on.
It on. I get out there at 1:30, and the plant manager and that girl are going through every one of the boxes. They have them all laid out on the floor. And one of my guys comes up next to me, and I can remember it. He goes, "Are you kidding me?" And I just did this motion like this. And she actually said, she goes, "You look so mad that you could kill somebody." And I didn't say a word. But the night before, I did make a hand gesture when I found out that we had the wrong barrels. I did one of those, just.
Oh, okay.
And they took it as that I was
mental health.
So I get in on Friday after everything's done, and they're like, "Hey, come to the office." I'm like, "Okay." I come in the office, and it's Donna and another guy, and this the security team guys that are about this big around, and I'm like, okay. And then they got the sheriff's departments there. I'm like,
this ain't gonna be good.
I said, okay, this ain't gonna be good. And one of my friends, I was talking to her before, and she goes, I think something bad is gonna happen. I'm like, it is what it is. I said, and I walked in there, and they're like, yeah. So I'm like, okay. So against Daniel Defense, but I would tell everybody this: if you have a DD, just go ahead and change out the fire control group and just get a Geisley.
Okay.
I don't know if you did. Did you get notice for the recall?
If I did, I don't know about it.
Yeah. So there was a recall for the triggers, like the disconnects were milled incorrectly. Yeah, I told them that was going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And what happened was the day that I sent the email and the day that I got fired, that's the recall dates.
Nice.
So,
well, let's get into since you've explained the military part, you explained your tours,
the actual store, what we're doing now.
Well, absolutely. Let's go to the store, but also kind of because you got a good insight on a lot of Second Amendment stuff when it comes to FFL stuff, when it comes to suppressor stuff, and I think that's some stuff we can really show out to the audience. But so you get out of Daniel Defense, and how long is it from that point?
till I get home.
Well, no, till you open up the store here.
So I stayed in South Carolina probably another. So we got here in 2021.
Okay. Into COVID, tail end of COVID.
In the tail end of COVID. My daughter was born in 2019, and so my in-laws were living with me at the time, and so it was just they had 24-hour access to my daughter, and my parents. We were living in South Carolina, and my parents were here, and I just felt like it was time to go home.
Yeah.
And again, I had applied for the instructor position down at the CB base and still didn't get anything. And I'm like, okay. And I just was like, all right, well, I guess the next best thing to do is a gun store because that's the only other thing that I know how to do.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's where C&M Tactical comes from. So obviously the C is the first name, initial of my name, and the M is my dad. My dad's not really a gun guy. Not at all. So if you do get in contact with my dad and you ask a question, he's going to, the default answer is
pass you off.
If I'm in the store, he's going to pass the phone off to me. Second thing is he's just going to tell you to go to the website.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what I've told him to just tell people. Is just go to the website. Just tell him to go. Love my dad to death, but now, if you want to talk to him about rebuilding a car, he'll talk to you for hours.
Everybody's got their own niche. You know what I'm saying?
This is more of just the fact to get him some time away from my mom.
Yeah. Okay. And sometimes that's key.
Yeah. Well, their love language is yelling. So
there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, when you've been married 50 plus years. Yeah.
So 21, you opened the store. You mentioned that it was at a different location.
Well, 22, we opened this. We moved down here in 21. In 22, we started the store, and then the city of Gulfport that's where I kind of got behind the 8 ball with everything. Initially, they wouldn't give me my occupancy.
Yeah.
TBI. Can't talk.
Right. There you go.
Until I got the FFL. So that put me behind. That put me 6 months behind with no income coming in because I couldn't sell ammo. I couldn't sell accessories that I could sell without an FFL. So I was paying $2,500 on rent.
Ooh.
And so all the money that I had put aside basically from the sale of the house in South Carolina for inventory.
Eating it up.
I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So, I got put behind the 8 ball at that place. Had I known that the location that we were at now was available, after that first year's, I would have jump shipped and went to this new place. This one's just so much easier. It's easier. It's got more parking spots.
Live and learn.
It's a way better location.
Right.
Neighborhood's a little bit better. I mean, it's Gulfport, but
it
is what it is.
You're a firearm store, though.
Yeah,
you're good.
Well, I got Jax, so Jax does scare some people. So Jax is the 85-pound police fail that is at the shop all the time. So he does tend to scare people.
The tour. People,
yeah. So you get to the first location. You're waiting on an FFL, which I'm sure most of the audience knows is a federal firearms license to sell firearms. You can't sell firearms without it.
Can't sell without
that as a business.
Yep.
Right. You get that.
Yep. That comes in, and I'm like, ooh, yay. Stuff starts coming in. We offer consignment. That was a big helping getting started.
Okay.
I had a cousin that had some very high-end Springfield Armory weapons that I really wish I had the cash to just buy them outright. He had the one that I really wish I wouldn't have sold for him and bought myself was he had a super match Springfield Armory. Those things are so kind of they're a match gun. They're designed for long range shooting, like NRA style match shooting guns.
Right.
As somebody who's seen from working in a factory at Daniel Defense, 12 years in the military, multiple tours, what's your preference on manufacturer? Do you have one? Can you kind of compare them for us?
So guns are kind of like the cars.
Do you work on guns at your store too? Are you a gunsmith as well?
Well, ish.
Okay.
I would say.
Right.
So I can do basic gunsmithing. Like, if you have a trigger job, not a problem. I can change out triggers and pistols and stuff like that. AR wise, yes, I can do it. So your rifle is your basic I can do rifle stuff. Like I do bore sighting, I do mounting optics, I do that type of stuff. The one guns that I do tend to kind of outsource, revolvers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need
tricky.
Well, I need to just sit down with one and just get that reputation.
Repetition on it. Yeah. TBI, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, I'm always just words, just kind of just
Yeah.
But I haven't had as much experience with revolvers. Like I can shoot a revolver, but taking one apart is never. I've never really had to take, because you don't really take a revolver completely apart to clean it.
Right.
You open up the cylinder, you clean the cylinder, you clean the chain, and
throw it back in.
And oil.
Go. Yeah.
But everything else, yeah, I can do those to a basic.
Okay. What? But as far as manufacturer, what's your take on it?
Me personally, I'm a SIG guy, and I know that probably a lot of people like Glocks. Glocks to me, so we have two things when it comes to pistol sales. The first one is it's got to feel comfortable in your hands.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't feel comfortable in your hands, I don't want to sell it to you because you don't want to. You're not going to want to go train with it, because if it's not comfortable in your hands when you don't have ammo in it, it's not going to be comfortable when you go to shoot it.
No.
Second thing is if you can't manipulate the slide, which means you pull it back, let it go, and put a round in the chamber. If it's too hard for you to do that.
And that's a bigger thing than you think.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you can't rack the gun, then you can't do anything with it. Especially people with osteoporosis, they got, tendinitis.
I'll get to the next one with that one is that's, so you have a lot of people, most gun buyers now are females.
Right.
That is the largest group coming in to buy guns is females, because, everything going on in the world is. I am one of those that I will not put a revolver in a female's hands.
Really?
I thought that was like the gun recommended to
that's
females.
what I've always heard.
Well, think about it. So a revolver safety is the trigger.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Those are about an 8-pound trigger pull on them.
Mm-hmm.
Most females, by the time they actually get that hammer when it's coming back, could have that muscle fatigue. Mm-hmm. They could be over here when they pull the trigger. Mm-hmm. Now, if they learn to take it from double action to single action, then it takes that poundage and it's easier to pull.
Right.
But if they don't train to when they pull it out of a purse or
click it with their thumb,
take that.
Yep.
And then a lot of them are bob now. So they don't. Yeah. So they're still in the purse. So you can't do it.
And you still.
Oh yeah.
They're hammerless. revolvers. So when you get,
what's the hammerless revolver that the popular one that everybody gets?
The Airweight. Yeah, the 380
Smith & Wesson's Airweights. Yeah.
That ain't ringing the
it's
bell.
just right off the.
Yeah.
Smoothed off.
You got the Taurus makes one. Most of the revolvers nowadays do have one that are.
They make a Judge in it, but that's not what you're thinking about. They make a Judge bobbed or not. They make pretty much.
Maybe it's
revolver.
the Judge that was hammered. I don't know.
Yeah. I just.
So you're not a fan of that for that reason. Because that was the third thing I was hoping you were going to say. You said feel of the hand. Mm-hmm. Can you rack it? Mm-hmm. And then I was waiting to see if you were going to say trigger pull. Yep. And the reason I say that is because the first gun I ever bought my wife was the Ruger LCP, the 380, and it's got a long trigger pull on it. It's double action.
And it's double action.
It is. Yeah. And it's still a good gun for the price. There's way better out there, but like it is a long trigger pull.
And then also probably when she went to shoot it, with it being a 380, 380's got some pop.
Yeah.
So that recoil on it, they're not expecting
because of the weight of the gun. Is that what you're saying? Yep. Yeah, exactly.
So the guide rod spring is what helps with that recoil. So them smaller guns with the smaller guide rods is what's helping with those recoils.
All right, let's do this real quick then. What do you recommend for a first time gun owner, female, to get? She's never shot a gun before in her life. She's, watching the news. Everything's going crazy. She wants something for self-defense.
40, 50 pounds, soaking wet.
No, like.
So the one that I recommend a lot to the first time shooters, and a lot of people kind of is Smith & Wesson makes one. So they got ones now. They're called it's the Easy Shield is what they first came out with. They're single stack. They're very easy to rack back. They come in a 380 or a 9mm.
You said shield, right?
The Easy Shield.
Easy
Shield.
Shield.
So they're really easy to ride to manipulate the slide. Then people kind of complained a little bit that, with it only being single stack, you lose. Mm-hmm. So they came out with something called the equalizer.
Well, so explain that. So a single stack magazine is when the bullet
sits right on top of each other.
Double stack is when they're
side
by side.
Side to side. So So the equalizer, and this is the one that I kind of recommend a lot of times, especially when you were talking about the older.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna flash on the screen. Keep going.
Yeah. When you're talking about the older, like the older shooters and older, so it gets to they can use. It's still got that same easy slide, but it comes with 3 magazines. So it comes with a 10 rounder, a 13, and a 15 rounder.
Right.
So depending on how she plans on, like what she's wearing. So say she's got a smaller purse that she plans on wearing with it, put the 10 round in there. So she's got one in the chamber because it's got 2 safeties. It's got a manual safety and it's got a dovetail safety.
And that 10 rounds can be flush, so it's not going to pull on anything.
This is it.
Flush.
I got the Smith & Wesson M&P 380 Shield. Easy.
Yep, easy. So,
okay.
And then when she gets home, she can take the 10 rounder out. She can throw the 15 rounder in it. And so now she has a good personal home defense gun. So now she has 16 rounds, just like a Glock 19, but with a safety.
Right.
So that's
what caliber. I mean, you usually go 9.
I go 9. Just because, and this is, I tell people this all the time. Like, so if something were to go down in the States, 9mm is going to be the most readily available ammunition.
Right.
The military carries 9. The police force carries 9. Most people carry 9mm for self-defense purposes. So I always recommend having something that shoots 9.
It's reasonably priced.
It is.
Kinda.
The ballistics on it are just as good as a 45. I know some people are going to be like, oh, you can't. You can do just as much damage as a 9mm as you can with a 45.
Yeah. I mean, there's always the 911 the 911 versus the Glock, and then the 45 versus the 9mm. It's always it's fights on both sides.
It's Ford versus Chevy.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all personal preference. Like I said, I'm a SIG guy through and through. Like my carry is the 320X carry, and people are like, "Oh, aren't you afraid you're going to get shot?" I've had this thing for 6 years. It hasn't gone off yet.
Right.
My home.
Why are they saying that specifically?
Well,
to that gun?
there's the recalls on them. There's certain springs that go into like the 40 caliber and the 9mm, and they look similar, but when they go into the 9mm variant, the tolerance on them are just, and so it's causing the firing mechanism to move.
Okay.
Allowing the strike.
Is it going to go off by itself, or does it just still have to be pulled?
Some people have said that it's gone off in their holsters.
Okay.
Wow.
So it's just one of those things that it's of course back in the day there was a Dallas police officer that dropped it and it hit at an angle and it went off.
Okay. What do you think about the through a curveball? What do you think about the 1911 frame that of gun?
I love so I got plenty of 1911s.
Yeah,
it's just not something I plan on carrying.
Okay,
so I mean,
it's an older design.
It's an older design.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like I got Colt 1911s that are tack drivers that 25 yards. I'm X-ring all day long,
and it's good looking. Such an iconic.
Have you seen
weapon.
the H9 from Daniel Defense?
Give me a second.
He's gonna look it up.
The H9.
They just.
Oh wait, no, keep going.
So they just came out with it. So originally Marty wanted to do like a 1911. And thank God that they really, because 1911s are a pain in the butt to put together.
So they make pistols.
They do now. They do have a pistol now.
So
but
you usually think of Daniel Defense as AR.
As an AR,
yeah.
They do have a pistol. It's called the H9. The one that I have at the shop does come with 3 15-round magazines. It does have an optic cutout on it. It's fiber optic night sights on it. I've had this thing now for 3 months and I just can't get rid of it.
Really?
I thought somebody would. I've had some people come in and they were talking about trying to get one.
Okay, it's on the screen now. So that doesn't look like a 1911 to me, though.
Right? But it feels like a 1911.
Okay.
You have that 1911 feel, but it kind of takes down like a Glock.
Well, I don't see the hammer either from this
no,
photo.
It's not. There's no hammer.
Okay.
So it has the 1911 feel to it. So it's not a 1911.
You just mean the way? Do you mean the way it feels in the palm?
The way it feels in your hands. It feels like you have a 1911.
I can see that. I can see that.
So Daniel Defense is usually a higher end weapon.
Yeah.
And I guess it's kind of like buying a car. Like you could buy a Kia, or you could buy a Honda or a Toyota, or you could buy a Rolls Royce, or you could buy a Lamborghini.
I currently have I have posted it to the Facebook page for the home C&M Tactical Facebook. I did a bundle just to try to build something up, but I did it's an Anderson Dark Horse, which is one of their, I wouldn't say a top tier Anderson AR. It's a basic AR rifle. Comes with a crimson trace red dot. I put in Magpul front and rear sights. You get a 60 round drum. You get 100 rounds of ammo. You get a rifle case with it. What else? Oh, and ear protection with it. And the price of it is $1,080. And if you were to buy each piece individually, I think you're looking at $1,400.
Right. Okay.
You can upgrade stuff so you could get that Anderson and put a Geisley trigger in it, and you can still. It's all about the person, not really the gun.
Yeah.
You always see those memes where you got people that says, "Oh, you spent $3,000 on a gun, but you needed $3,000 worth of training."
Right. I'll never forget. I went to the range with a buddy of mine one time. He had some Kimbers, and he had the Kimber which all Kimbers are fairly expensive.
Yes.
He had just a regular stock, I'm going to call it Kimber, but he had a custom shop, and we shot both of them. And I liked the regular Kimber better because it was heavier. The custom shop was super light, and it felt great when you be like, "Oh, this is way better." And then I'm thinking more like the 380 when you were talking about the LCP earlier. It's like you shoot, and it's like pow.
They got that, the springs that they put in it to make it lighter.
Yeah,
it can definitely affect the recoil.
Yeah, I was like, I would rather have a little bit heavier of a gun.
Right.
I'm not a 100-pound female. I'd rather have a little heavier of a gun, but something that when I shoot it, it stays way easier on point.
So the ones that I built for my wife, like her AR pistol, basically I took an arrow upper, arrow lower, Geisley trigger, Wilson Combat barrel. Front heavy on a little bit of the front, so that way when she puts the suppressor on it, so I have a Saker 5.56 for her, puts the can on it. And when you shoot this thing, it just stays on target. Like it's
supposed to be.
It's smooth.
So what did you tell me? I forgive me if you said it and I didn't hear you. If for the first time shooter woman, what is the pistol that you recommend for her?
I recommend the CZ Equalizer.
Okay, that's what you said.
Yeah. So like I said, three different magazines. So you get a 10, a 13, and a 15. So depending on how, so if she wants a belly band, so a lot of women were wearing the belly bands.
Yeah.
You can put the 13 round magazine on it. It's got enough of the grip on it where her pinky's not
hanging off or anything.
That's the one thing that I hate a lot about either the 380 guns is the bodyguard, the first gen bodyguard.
Yeah. The grown man hands, you get 3 fingers.
It's hard. They did make a 2.0, which is now a double stack, so it actually fits, but it's
that same thing's happening to me with I have the SIG P365. I love it, but I didn't get the XL.
Yeah.
So I kind of have that. Even with the extended mag, I kind of have a little bit of the pinky float. I still love the gun. It's great.
I would if you love the 365, look into the fuse.
Okay.
So basically,
even over the 365 XL.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the 365 fuse is basically what they did was they took the macro and put a XL slide on it. And the reason why I'm kind of in love with it is it comes with 21 round mags.
Oh, wow.
That's why I'm in love with it, because you have a self-defense and an everyday carry mag round. You got 21 rounds.
Well, and it's still concealable. I'm looking at I'm about to pull it up. It's still okay to conceal.
Yeah. You basically, if you're right-handed, I would say get a left-handed kind. If you're going to appendix carry it, get a left-handed holster for it. So then that way the 21 round mag kind of goes across the.
Oh, you're going to carry it with the 21 round.
Oh, yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah. If it holds it, you might as well get it, right?
If you're
losing money if I don't.
You can give me 22 rounds.
Yeah. What in your opinion is too cheap? Is there a gun that's too cheap? I mean, we talk about high points, Tauruses.
So I am not a big fan of the high point.
Okay.
Just the simple fact is if that is all you can afford,
right? It's better than nothing. It's better to stick.
I will sell somebody a high point all day long. I will try to get you if you can afford a high point, I can get you into a Taurus for just about the same price.
What do you think about Taurus, though? I've not heard good things about that.
Taurus, when they first came out,
here's the fuse. Sorry, not to interrupt you. Sorry, here's the 365 fuse. I'm showing on the screen here just so people can see it. A little bit longer of a. Okay, back to Taurus.
But it does give you that grip that you're looking for.
Okay.
Taurus did have that bad reputation when they first started. So when they moved from Brazil up to Miami, they did have that little bit of a problem. The ones lately I have been recommending, if it's a first time shooter and they just kind of want something to go, I'm not one of these that
to plink.
If they want to learn how to shoot, I will put a Taurus either G3C in their hand, or they do have the new G2X. That's a $275 gun for you to go play with. Vices, the 365 $600. I had a lady that had went to academy and asked them. Basically, all she said was, "I want a gun." First thing that they put in her hand was the 365. Didn't ask her any questions. Didn't just put the 360. And I was like, "All right, so what are you going to use the gun for?" "Oh, it's just protection. I'm going to leave it in the car." You're going to leave a $600 in the car that just
somebody's going to steal it.
Possibly.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, this is what I would have done. And she's like, "Oh, I even like it feels better in my hand." And I'm like, well, that's what nothing against the big box stores.
Right. I was going to say
they don't have.
Well, let's break it down.
They have a job.
Let's break it down. You own your store.
Yeah.
That is your store. Okay. You're vested. You're like your interest is
sole
responsibility. Is that business doing well? You're not a teenager working there for the summertime. Like, or this is your store.
It's my part-time job from the military.
It's not. Yeah, exactly.
I look at it as, all right, so that's one of the main reasons why, so I absolutely loved Cooks. Cooks was
that's done.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
They shut down. Yeah. My dad was friends with Mr. Cooks for a long time.
That's where I went there.
Yeah. So my dad, him and my dad, so obviously my dad being in the automotive industry, the junkyard,
ABC, Cooks. Yeah.
So they go way back, and then my dad helped him when he had his drag strip car for the drag strip. So
that's Ken Senior, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when they closed down, I was like, oh, because when I moved, initially when I got told, hey, you got to leave because I wasn't able to make the rent, I was like, all right, maybe this isn't what I'm supposed to do. And I just had too many people come up to me like, dude, you can't shut down. There's no gun stores.
Right.
And I was like, so I said, okay. And I was like, I found that place and it was way cheaper. I was like, it's way smaller, but
that's okay.
I'll make it do.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, when somebody just goes up and says, "Hey, I need a gun," well, what do you need
for? What
do you need it for? Is it for self-defense? Is it just something to go play with? Because if you just want a gun to go to the range and just shoot, I'm going to sell you a 22. Because you don't need to go
cheap.
Don't go to the 9mm. Go get a 9mm and go waste ammo. Get you a 22. Get 100 rounds for $10.
Right.
And go have fun.
Right. Pistol or rifle.
Yeah, because by that time, once you're like, oh, this is really fun and I want to do more, then you'll be like, all right, I'm going to do a 9mm. Oh, I'm going to get my concealed carry permit. Oh,
right.
And then you're going to get better. But don't just start with a 9mm.
And I think there's two different people. There's two people if one person buys guns, one person buys guns, this person's going to get hooked and say, yeah, this is really cool. And this person's going to be like, no, I don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
And that's the divide.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think society wise, we should be promoting gun ownership.
Oh, absolutely. I think everybody should
civic duty.
10 or 12 of them.
To a civic duty. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's one of the things. So we talked about, I wanted to do an indoor range. What I want to do, and everybody's like, oh, you shouldn't tell what your business plans do it. And whatever. If somebody does it, more power to them.
Right.
If they have the funds to do it, then do it and provide a service for the coast. That's how I feel about it. I'm not here to try to take anybody out. I'm not trying to put anybody out of business. And the gun industry is big enough that everybody can eat.
Huge. Yeah.
So my thing is I want to do it where Wednesday and a Friday night, because most churches have a group. They have different, men's, women's group. Yeah. But I want to do like a Wednesday night, like say my gun store's open from 6, from 9 to 8, Monday through Friday, and then close, Saturday hours. But from 6 to 8 on Wednesday and Friday, it's only female shooters.
There you go.
Female shooters, female instructors. That's the only people that's in the building. The reason why I want to do a Wednesday and a Friday is so that way the ones that have the church groups on Wednesday, those ladies can do it on Friday and not miss their church groups.
Right.
Then on Saturdays, what I want to do is have the concealed weapons class. While they're doing the weapons class, have a kids firearm safety class going on. So that way we can teach kids firearm safeties. and then have a place where they can do the hunter education classes.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
So
they don't even shoot anymore. They use lasers.
Yeah.
It's a laser.
In what?
In hunter safety
class. Yeah.
Remember how we used to go to the dump and we would shoot shotguns? The girls would shoot 20 gauges and we would shoot 12 gauges.
Yeah.
Now they bring in a laser. It's like a Nintendo gun.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Pew, pew, pew.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's an insurance thing, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Which is stupid because you need to feel the recoil of a real firearm. You need to smell the gunpowder. You need to know that that thing can kill you, and that way you respect it.
Well, that's what I wanted. Like I said, with the firearm, the kids' firearm is basically and everybody. I'm not really a big fan of the NRA anymore.
I've heard of it.
A lot of people aren't. Yeah.
But they do that Eddie the Eagle program.
Give me real quick, like why? What they do specifically?
30 seconds.
Yeah, they did.
It's the legislation stuff. It's like especially like with this big beautiful bill.
Yeah,
they rolled over.
Okay, you think they compromised too much? That's what I've. What was it? What was his name?
Pierre.
Pierre. Yeah, I know a lot of YouTuber guys. They didn't like. And then you wonder, like, is he being co-opted for money? Does he have to dance a little bit here and there to get, who knows? I don't know, but
it's just one of those things that everything's just too political right now.
Yeah. Go into the big beautiful bill thing for us real quick, because we mentioned that before we went live.
Yeah, early with that is
what's the problem in it?
The problem with the big beautiful bill, which was everybody was hoping for, was that they were going to finally take suppressors, short barrel rifles, and short barrel shotguns and the AOWs off of the NFA items.
AOWs are
any other weapon.
Okay.
So like a shorty shotgun. Mossberg makes like this little 4. It only holds like 4 shotguns. I mean, literally, it's like this big,
it's a little round.
But it's got a built-in vertical grip on it. So it's you pay a $5 tax stamp for it because it's an AOW.
Okay.
And what's crazy is we're sitting here talking because we have a little bit of knowledge. You have more than us, but a regular Joe or Jane off the street, and they're like, "Oh, it's a shotgun. That's 12 inches. I can go shoot that anywhere." You know what I'm saying? And it's like, no.
Or you hear all the crazy terminology, especially if you're not into the gun world. You hear like assault style weapon, military grade, military style. Why is it on the streets? It's like, you're doing a thing that's just not right.
Yeah. I really, the assault life stickers, I can't stand those.
You said assault life?
Assault life. You ever seen it with the ARs?
Assault life, yeah. Those were really popular.
The AR doesn't even stand for assault.
No, it's armor light. But just because EG stoner. So those items right there, like I said, those basically got put on back in Prohibition days when which gangsters really were the only ones.
Yeah.
Tommy gun.
That's when you said, that was a whole different thing. Yeah. The Tommy gun was completely legal at the time, was it not? Yeah. And then I'm thinking sawed-off shotguns though. That's when you see
Untouchables and stuff like that,
or like rap videos or LA gangs is what I'm trying to get to. Like they were using that kind of shit.
Yeah. So what it was supposed to do. So originally, the Hearing Protection Act was supposed to, like right before Parkland, they were getting ready to vote on the Hearing Protection Act. And then Parkland happened. Mm-hmm. And so they were like, oh, well, we can't vote on taking suppressors off because, we just had a massacre.
Yeah.
Which, there's a massacre every day in Chicago, but we don't try to take stuff off of bills there. But
wait a minute. Chicago is a gun-free zone.
Yeah. Well, how they even get
what you're talking about?
Because they're going to gun shows in Indiana. Actually.
Yeah. That's a hot topic. We're joking. It's a hot topic, but anyway, we don't have enough time left on the show to go down that rabbit hole.
So basically what it was the big beautiful bill was supposed to take off those 3 items. And what happened is that Parliament lady, I can't remember what the name of the rule was, but there's a rule that she used. And basically what happened is what's his name? Thurn, the Republic leader in the Senate, basically caved to her. And what they said as a compromise is it went from paying $200 is now we don't have to pay any taxes on it, but you still have to require to do the fingerprints and your photo passport and ask permission to do it instead of just being able to go into the store and purchase it just like you would any other gun. Like, so if you had a concealed weapons permit, basically you could still, just like you do with your pistol, you'd go in there and say, hey, I want that suppressor. They put it on the 4473, which is the paperwork that you fill out. They put it on there. You get your concealed weapons card. They put that information in there, and you pay for it. Out the door you go with it. Now you still have to kind of like through Silencer Shop. Basically, Silencer Shop Form 3s it to my shop, and then I have to sit down with you and I Form 4 it to you. And then I have to wait for the government to say, all right, yeah, it's been approved. I print out your paperwork and say, here you go. Now we can do the paperwork and get it off my logbooks. Here you go. Now you have your I've had some come back in 12 hours, and I've had some that I'm still waiting on. And unfortunately, the guy that's waiting on his passed away before he got to use it. So
that's terrible.
So it's more red tape.
Now, more red tape, yeah.
Do you get to keep suppressors in your shop?
Yes.
Okay, so if I come into your store, I can look at it, I can see it. You can talk to me about it. I just can't purchase it and walk out with it.
No, you can purchase. You can't walk out with it. But yes, you can put your hands on it. Yep. And then if you want to come back the next day and say, hey, I want to look at my suppressor, all right, pull it out the box. And here you go.
And I don't think any of the,
hold it.
I don't think any of the, another way to like distinguish your business from other businesses, the big boxes don't carry those.
No.
They don't want it. They don't want the heat. They don't want the smoke.
That's considered what? Class 3?
Class 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait.
A suppressor.
Class 3 item, yeah.
Yeah, it's a class 3 item where you have to have the paperwork.
You
have to have a class 3 license to own it. Yeah, okay, that's what I'm getting at.
So the special
break that down for me.
So the SOT, which is the specialty occupancy tax, is what I have to have in order to sell it.
Suppressors.
Yeah,
okay.
Sell the suppressors or short barrel rifles or short barrel shotguns.
SBRs,
anything that's in the NFA items.
That's what you have to have.
I have to.
What do I have to buy? Let's go down the list. What to SBR? SBR.
An individual. You can be an individual on the paperwork, or you can be a trust.
Okay.
Those are the 2 items that you need.
All right.
So you can individually. So as an individual means only you can be in possession of it. So a prime example of it. So my first suppressor that I bought that I use the most of is my 22 can. I did it as an individual because I was dumb and didn't want to wait for my trust to get it
approved.
I was like, just doing it as an individual. I want it now. So 7 months, I got my little 22 can. I'm like, oh, it's so cute.
Yeah.
And I was shoo.
Yep.
And then I was like, oh, now we got to do other things. Oh crap, trust. Oh no. So I did it as an individual. So now as I want to put this 22 can onto my trust, I have to pay the government another $200. And then I have to wait from them to give me that Form 4 to the trust. But I still have to, so then I have paid $400 to the government for this one item. Now with my trust, I just pay $200 and then that item gets put on it. And then it just continues on from there.
Okay.
Break the trust down.
So my trust basically is just a firearms trust. So like I have nothing else in it but just firearms. So like my SBRs are in it and my suppressors. Yeah. There's only 3 people that's in it. So me, my wife, and of course my daughter. When she turns 18, she can legally get her, well, at 18, because by the time she turns 18, I'm going to be a really old man. At that time, the laws may change where she can actually be in possession of it by herself, especially if like me and my wife are deceased, then she can be in legally possession of it, because then usually those type of items, they want you to be 21. But if your parents are deceased, they
pass it down to you, right?
It's passed down to her.
And now, so your daughter can use it if you have a can or something like that, but you have to be within.
I have to be like, so if we go hunting and she has her can, so like her stand can be here, I have to be kind of where I can still see her.
Right.
If she's 18.
If she's 18. Or no, she like, so say she's 12 and we go hunting.
Okay.
You have to be within a distance to see her.
Okay. But 21 is the age
that
when that changes.
It's like, so say she decides that she and her friends decide that they're going to go to the range at 21, then she can take the cans and
by herself.
Yeah. And at that time, hopefully the full autos that we'll have in our trust too. So.
Okay. Cool. Funny question. If she's 18 and she's a Marine,
nope.
Still can't. No. In the military, No, listen, she can go deploy to a war zone and have fully automatic weapons, run 50 cals and all this other shit.
She can't do it at home.
She can't do it at home.
Can't do it at home.
She can't buy cigarettes. She can't buy beer.
That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Absolutely.
Ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And they can't change the law. They won't. Well, they won't change the law because an 18's not.
You can't even buy a vape anymore.
No,
it's got to be 21.
Now, let me completely contradict myself in saying that if you've made it through basic training, boot camp as a Marine or any branch of the military, maybe you should be able to do that versus a civilian who hasn't went through any training like that. Maybe they got it right. I don't know.
What I want to know is on the trust part, when you go and look up the information and it's just endless rabbit holes and stuff like that, all this legal stuff that you have to do you need a lawyer to do it? What's the easiest way to set it up?
I would say recommend that. Huh?
I recommend. So I did mine through South Carolina lawyer. Had it done. Silencer Shop does do a trust through them. They do offer. They have stuff that's called like a single shot trust. Which a lot of people go through and do those, which basically what it does is, so instead of having so you buy the item and then you do your tax stamp and then they have a little thing that says, hey, you can buy a single shot trust. And with that single shot trust, you can say, all right, I'm gonna add these people. So then that can has these people can be in, but only that can. It's not like this trust, you can add more. You can't add extra cans to that trust. Yeah. They also have a thing where you can buy like a lifetime thing of single trust. So basically you pay for a lifetime of single trust. And then when you buy cans, it just automatically.
And their lawyers handle it.
It's basically it's all that. And then you get it notarized. So basically you just go to a notary and say, all right, here's my $1. My trust is worth $1.
Yeah.
I have $1 stapled to it. And there it is.
But you recommend going the lawyer route?
Silencer Shop is really good, especially if you want to do it as most lawyers that I've talked to around here want to charge you about $1,000 to do a trust. And I actually had a lawyer that was doing trusts for us for like $300 and then got into a really bad car accident and decided he didn't want to be a lawyer anymore. So
we'll have to look at Taylor and Cox Law Firm and see.
He's a sponsor of the show.
Exactly.
I've already asked you about that. Like,
did you?
Twice. Yeah.
Okay.
So stay away. Are you not saying stay away from Silencer Code? Just saying that's an option.
Silencer Shop is basically what it is. It's a distributor for just suppressors. Well, you can buy firearms through them too. They're out of Austin, Texas. They're kind of like the big dogs when it comes to like suppressors.
I've heard of them. Yeah.
I recommend. So I'm like a power buy dealer through them. So basically you can go on the website. It's a landing page. You click Silencer Shop. And you can, whatever they have in their inventory is like buying it from me. So basically you buy it from them. They send it to me. Basically they send me a check. And I don't have to worry with anything, and they do all the paperwork.
Yeah, because you're an FFL.
Mm-hmm.
FFL
SOT.
And people don't understand what an FFL is. When you buy a gun from, say, Gun Broker or something like that, it's got to ship to you. You still have to do the same paperwork if somebody bought it in a thing, but then they have to pay you for the FFL. Yeah. What is your FFL fee?
$25.
$25.
Standard.
I know some people are charging like $40 and $50, and I'm like, there's no reason. It's just a little bit of paperwork on my part. And so my goal is if I could do 10 transfers a day, I'd be a happy man.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Currently right now, what I'm trying to do is my church is what I'm doing for my church is they're getting ready to have a mission trip to Dominican Republic in October. Mm. There are a couple people that are a little behind on the funds. So what the shop is doing is for every firearm that's transferred in or suppressor that's transferred in, or if you buy a gun or a suppressor, I donate $5 from that sale to help with those mission trips. I have a discount code. There's a 10% discount off. We donate 5% of the sale to the mission trip as well. Just trying to help these guys that want to go on the mission trip, that they have that calling.
Yeah.
Just try to help it out.
What's your church?
It's Coast Life Church.
Where are they at?
Seaway. Yeah. Same one we go to.
Oh, the one where okay. Yeah, I've been there. I've been there.
Yeah.
I love Pastor D.
Great.
Yeah,
he rides Harleys, he shoots guns. David Kiefer goes there. He does security there. Yeah,
I love it. I love it. Yes. I love a pastor that rides Harleys and shoots guns.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
My priest, he fishes.
That's good enough.
Yeah, I think
Jesus was a fisher.
Yeah.
all his homies were.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
So his code. So the code for that is like thinking out loud. And then we do have other codes for like the St. Martin High School girls flag football team.
Yeah.
Trying to support them. The St. Martin.
Pavlis.
Yep. The St. Martin Youth Baseball League. They have one as well. My cousin. Well, my cousin, he helps out with them. So I obviously, you got to help family.
Oh yeah.
And then of course I do Tackle 22 Fishing, help with
we
them.
know them.
So
they've been on the show plenty of times.
all of those discount codes are on the website. So I have like a news scroll that continuously scrolls on it. So anybody, if they want to buy a gun, or all they have to do is use one of those codes, and then I'll donate the sale from those. So.
You've actually helped my wife as well over at Harris.
Yeah, with the Harris.
We always talk about guns in schools are kind of, but I mean,
well, like I said, my mom taught.
They protect. Like there's SROs, and those schools are protected with guns.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the.
Well, funny thing is, a lot of things are protected with guns.
Yeah, a lot of it.
A lot. It's a weird thing.
Well, I'm one of those that also, that would be a great thing, especially for a lot of veterans. They have a desire to still serve.
Right.
Put them as SRO.
Put them as an SR. Give them, and they're
already trained.
Yeah,
especially if they've been in combat.
Especially, I mean, a lot of them, you get them. There's so much stuff that the veteran can do. That another thing that I hope that comes to fruition is I want to try to do like a nonprofit where I'm able to get anywhere between 1,000 to maybe 1,200 acres. I want to put like, I know I bashed the NRA, but you do have people that like to do the NRA shooting competitions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Put 1,000-yard NRA style match range out there. I want to do a skeet range where you can do day and night skeet shooting. But then I also want to set it up where there are.
That's wild. Is it? Hey, not to encourage. I'm sorry, but
go ahead.
Is there already nighttime skeet shooters?
Yeah, it's glow in the dark.
Yeah,
glow in the dark.
Wow,
Yeah.
what a thing.
Yeah.
So there's
what a time to be alive.
Time to be alive.
I saw it. It's like
to hell with nighttime golf.
Yeah.
Let's shoot some shit at night.
Out in Texas, they do it.
Of course.
Yeah,
Everything's bigger in Texas.
But basically, what it is the pigeons they're glow in the dark. Just
the shitty thing was though is that as soon as I said that and started laughing, then my brain went, "But what about the insurance?" Because that's the world we live in. Right?
And I am one of that's what, especially with the range, everybody's like, well, aren't you worried about the insurance being out? And yes, the insurance is going to be high. And yes, everybody's like, yes, it's a business. I'm supposed to be making money.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about making money. It's about the ability for people to have a spot to come train.
Right.
Going to be able to so what I want to do with my range, it's not going to be this big, huge thing, elaborate range. Mm-hmm. But you're going to have a spot where you can come in and actually train. Like if you want to draw from the holster and engage a target, you will have to demonstrate. So I'm going to have an RSO in the ranges. There's not going to be just cameras sitting there watching you. Mm-hmm. There's going to be somebody. There's going to be a range officer in there watching you. You're going to have to demonstrate to them that you cannot shoot yourself in the foot, or you're not going to shoot the roof, or you're not going to shoot the ground. And if you do, you're going to get kicked out.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you the ability to, and of course you're going to sign a paper, the waiver is going to be about a billion pages.
17 signatures.
Yeah.
But you're going to have the ability to do that. You're going to have the ability, failure to stop drills. Cause a lot of times just shooting one round at a target's not
real life.
Not real life.
Yeah.
Multiple target engagements. If you want to be able to, cause I used to teach a lady in South Carolina that basically the last class that I had a 50-pound drag dummy on top of her. And basically what she did was she simulated with her revolver, as a secondary, but I taught her that when it came out of the holster, it went into single action. Mm-hmm. So her adrenaline was going. So she pulled the trigger. Obviously it was unloaded because I didn't want her to shoot my dummy.
Yeah.
She'd put 2 rounds into the dummy. Push off, then she'd have 3 rounds.
All right.
One round, failure to stop, drop, pull primary, failure to stop, failure to stop, failure to stop.
What is failure to stop? What do you mean?
So failure to stop is basically, so you got your target. So chest, face, groin. I always recommend, especially for females, the groin area is a lot easier to shoot than the T-box. Shooting the head is one of the hardest things to do. So this right here is what we call the kill area right here. It's this little T-box area.
The brain, yeah.
That's the hardest thing to do. But if you shoot somebody in the groin area, you got those two arteries that flow right there. You hit one of those, it doesn't matter if you put you're done. You're going to bleed to death.
But when you say failure to stop, I'm still not following.
So you shoot somebody,
you shoot them and they still keep coming. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
So you shoot the first time and they're still moving. So
you're the one calling that command.
Yeah.
You hit them, but they have not died. Okay. Now I'm with you.
So failure to stop is usually 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. So basically, you put 2 to the chest.
They're still coming at you.
Now I'm on board.
So,
that makes sense.
When
I just never heard that term like that.
It's a military thing.
Yeah.
So if a female or somebody's getting assaulted, the person that's assaulting you, their adrenaline's already going. So it's basically like they're on drugs.
Right.
So you can shoot them 2 or 3 times, and they're not even going to know that they've been shot.
Yeah.
That's why you got that failure to stop. You put 2, and you get it just instantaneously. 2, 2, 1. Promise you, if somebody shoots you in your junk area,
you're going to go very far.
Yeah.
So
I'm out.
I'm done.
So that's why I always teach the groin area for the failure to stops instead of the. Now, if they want to get and just see if they can do it in a quick time, by all means, just to see if they can do it. But the groin area is bigger, so that way they always choose for the groin.
Yeah.
We said it already, but I want to reiterate it. Safety is the number one and most important thing when you talk about firearms, buying a firearm, training, whatever it is, it's safety, because it is literally a life and death situation at all times.
Another thing is a lot of, what I always like, well, I don't really like, but I'll get it in there, is you got the gentlemen that come in, I want to buy a gun for my wife. I want to buy a Glock. Well, what kind of firearms training does she have? Oh, she's never shot a gun before. And so you want to give her a gun that has no safety. How's she going to carry it? I don't know. Put it in her purse.
Yeah. Not a good situation.
Okay, you're going to put it in her purse. Yeah. So what happens if her lipstick gets into that and it goes off? Oh, well, then she just won't carry one in the chamber. All right. So is she going to train to, when she pulls it out of to put one in? Can she rack one back in time?
Correct.
Now I have shooters that I've trained in the past that just, even with training, they still didn't feel comfortable with one in the chamber.
Yeah.
But when I trained them, as they were coming out of their holster, they were racking, and they would practice.
That was one thing that I did like about the 1911 platform, because I do own one, is the ability to either to have it one in the chamber, but then you can decompress the hammer and either train with
stage 1, stage 2,
pulling it, or hammer back if you wanted. But the 1911 I have, it has the hammer guard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Most 1911s are single action. So you have to pull back that, either you have to rack one in it to get the hammer back.
Right.
So that's, a lot of people like the hammers for that reason.
Right.
Is they can put the hammer back, put it on safe, and don't have to worry about it.
Right. Right.
Strike fires are a little different. That's where you got
That's okay.
That's my.
Hope that what?
No, I haven't been carrying. It's just that big heavy ass knife I got there.
I'm sure you carry more. You carry those in your shop too?
I do. Yeah. So this is a.
Nice.
Yeah. So this is the Deadpool edition.
Nice. What's the Mississippi
Cobra
law? Do you know it on those style of knife?
I
know you're not an attorney.
I heard they're not supposed to sell them. I don't think so. I bought this in South Carolina.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They were legal in South
Carolina.
They were legal. Everything's legal in South Carolina. I don't know. I have to look into it. There's my website is set up so if it's not legal to be sold in Mississippi, it will not
allow you to do it.
It won't allow sell it. Go through it. So these are Cobra Tech knives out the fronts. I do think they're legal because I think High Caliber sells Microtech, and that's an out the front blade.
Right,
so
same thing.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a couple questions before we wrap things up here. A couple questions. Number one, what do you think about knives for self-defense, especially for women?
Great.
Yes, that's what I think. That's what I think. I think it's understated. I don't think people, and I love guns. Absolutely love guns.
Yeah.
But I think a punch knife, something that you can quickly grab for a woman because it's less intimidating for them. Like you talk about walking around with one in the chamber, anything on their hip, because if a man or whoever, but typically
it's going to be a man,
attacks them, gets on top of them, if they can get to that, that's just good or better than a gun.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all about how you train with it too. That same lady that I taught to do the failure to stop drills from our back, knife drills as well. She actually had one of these as well. And I always told her, remember, don't stick it up to her and then pull because, it messes the spring.
Right.
But she kind of would get to it where she would kind of do the flick of the wrist with it. And then I was like, okay, you can't shoot my dummy, but I'll let you stab the dummy.
Right.
And taught her just to remember, through the third and fourth, rib.
Right.
Turn, twist, pull.
Lights out.
Yeah. And at that point, good call for where to put it, but put it anywhere.
Yeah.
If you're making contact with something like that, he's going to probably leave you alone.
Well, again, training with it, especially here, if you can get it where it cuts here, it's going to be lights out. So unless he knows how to put a tourniquet on by himself,
he has one,
or knows how to take his belt off quickly enough to, he's going to.
What age do you suggest introducing guns, knives to kids? What do you think is
I have taught, so basically what I've done with my daughter is she's 6. I've taught her to take I've taken the curiosity away from it right now. I haven't really taught her the marksmanship stuff of it yet. I've tried with a Nerf gun. She's just not there yet. She shoots me all the time. Especially trying to shoot me in the head. I'm like, no, don't shoot.
We can't do that.
You can't do that. But I took the curiosity away from it. So basically what I did is I took the gun, unloaded it, made sure no round in the chamber, put it on the table. I was like, touch it, pick it up.
Right.
Play with it. All right, here's the rounds. Here's the magazine. All right.
This is I
took her to the range, put a watermelon out, shot the watermelon, said, see, this is what it can do. It's not a toy.
Correct.
I can leave a loaded gun around my daughter. She doesn't touch it. It's all about trying, and everybody they hate that I tell them to say that, and they're like, yeah, but what if a friend of hers comes around? Then I have a gun safe.
I was going to say all guns should be
my guns. I have a gun safe. If she brings a friend around, then obviously at that point my gun's not just going to be lying around.
Correct.
But she knows that when I get home and I take it out of the holster and I put it on top of the gun safe, she's not pulling a chair to the gun safe to try to get the gun.
Yeah, she's not going anywhere close to it.
Yeah.
Right.
So
to kind of dovetail off of that as well. So we mentioned, obviously safety is number one. Safety is number one. If people come into your store looking for a gun, first time, male or female, you've already expressed and told us, you're going to give them not just a standard answer. You're going to ask multiple questions. You're going to figure out, why do you want this gun? What's your experience level? What's your training level? Right. You're going to walk them through that process. And I think that's one way you separate yourself.
Well, and then another thing is I have a gentleman that does do so right now I have no place to,
that's where I was going with it.
I have no place to take people to shoot.
Right.
I have family members that have land that I can go shoot at, but I'm not going to take somebody.
Liability.
No. Yep. The ladies over in Pass Christian actually have an indoor simulator.
Okay.
So I send people their way all the time.
I think simulation is a great way to start.
Yeah. Especially with kids.
Yeah.
Kids is a good way. And like I said, I have a gentleman that he does some training at Gung Ho, and he'll post stuff on Facebook, and I haven't seen his training, and I haven't had any bad reviews for people saying they've had bad stuff. So I will continue to post his stuff. If there's instructors out there that want for me to send people their way, I'll do it. I
hit you up, right?
Yeah. If I ever do get my range, I plan on having 2 weeks out of the month where one of my instructors will be doing the CWP classes, but the other 2 weeks I will rent the classroom out. So that way local instructors, if they want to do, everybody's got to eat.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to put any, I just want to help people get training.
Explain because Mississippi is
it's a constitutional carry state.
Yeah. Explain that. And then there's concealed carry.
Yeah. You can conceal carry. But if you're 18, you have to open carry. If you're 18 and you're going to carry a handgun.
That means
outside.
Yeah.
If you're 18 and older, you got to be 18 to own.
You have to be 18. You have to be 21 to legally purchase a firearm from a federal firearms license. Like, so my shop, if they come in and say, hey, I want to buy a pistol and they're 20 years old, sorry,
can't do it.
Can't sell you one.
Okay.
That's a federal law.
What if they buy it from me?
Not a problem.
Okay. So, 18-year-olds in the state of Mississippi can legally own.
They can legally own one.
A pistol.
They can't. A pistol.
Okay.
They cannot.
We're not attorneys, by the way.
Not attorney. No.
Call Tyler Cox.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right. So if they go in, it's totally fine, person to person.
Okay.
I always recommend, if you are going to buy a firearm, do a bill of sale. You don't have to. You don't have to have a bill of sale.
That's correct.
But I always recommend doing one just to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If it gets to the point where you don't feel like that gentleman or that person that you're selling the gun, if you have a bet, if your gut's telling you something,
don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely don't do it. If you're 21 and you're having that feeling, then come into my shop.
Okay.
Right.
I will do a person-to-person, face-to-face transfer for you where I will do the background check for you. That's just $25.
Which is worth it.
Yep.
Yeah. And you're going to run the serial numbers, make sure it's not stolen, make sure nobody killed anybody with it. Yeah.
Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the bill of sale. You're going to put in your information. They're going to put in their information. I'm going to make a copy of it for it. I'm going to put in the SN number, which is the not the serial number, but the number the number I get from that says yes, he can legally own a firearm.
Right. Okay.
I'm going to put that on the piece of paper. I'm going to make a copy. Both of y'all have it, and then he can walk out the door with it. If you get to that point and somebody says, no, I don't want to do that, I just want to do a person to person.
It's kind of shady.
Yeah.
Yep. Just be like, all right, man. Sorry, man.
But it's okay. So back to open carry, though. State of Mississippi, open carry, like Joey's saying, literally means it can't be concealed. It's got to be on your hip, somewhere where it's visible. Mm-hmm. Without, it's just visible to the public, which I think is the dumbest thing to do. Yeah. Personally, it's a personal choice.
It's personal preference. So I open carry when I have my daughter with me. And the reason why I do that is because I want the focus on me instead of her.
It just, to me, the reason I say it's the dumbest thing is because if I'm a bad guy and I walk into any public place and I'm going to shoot you first.
Yeah.
You have signaled to me that you have a weapon.
Yes.
I get it from like your daughter's, like your.
But I maintain.
And I mean, if I have a weapon. Now, if I'm just going to come in here and try to do some stupid shit, and I see that, that's going to deter me.
Situational awareness is what I always have. It's like, so I know where the exits are.
Right.
But I'm looking. So basically so this would be my daughter, and I'm like here.
Right.
So basically, if somebody's coming up behind me, I know somebody's coming. I'm one of those guys. Like if you see me at Walmart, my head's moving. I'm looking to see if somebody coughs behind me. I turn, I look. Usually, if we go to the store, there's three of us. So it's my wife and my daughter, and then it's me. And then, like I said, I open carry just to kind of deter away from my wife and my daughter. I would much rather somebody focus on me than her.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's just me. It's everybody's
preference.
Now,
Understood.
Now, when I get that fuse, it's going to be totally different.
Yeah.
I'll be still carrying all day long, but like 3 extra magazines or something.
Right. Yeah. And so, but we'll touch on this and then we'll wrap it up. In the state of Mississippi now, because it was different when I got my concealed carry. I went and got the class. I got the enhanced because I didn't want to have to pay attention to all the rules of where I can and where I can't. But they did change the law a few years back. I don't remember how long ago, but it's been a few years, right? So now you can conceal carry. We're not attorneys. Go check out official legal.
Don't take our word for it.
Don't take my word for this.
Reading Rainbow.
It's entertainment purposes only.
Yeah.
But you can conceal carry without the permit. Is that correct?
You can. But if you go to an establishment and it has the sign that says no firearms allowed on, you cannot carry on that property.
Now
that's with everything.
What my firearm instructor told me. Now I don't know about.
So with that, with the enhanced, so with yours, if they come up to you and say, you can't have that in here, I have been told that with the enhanced one, the manager has to come up to you and tell you that you can't have it there.
Okay, but if I just do constitutional carry, which is what this called for the state constitution,
you can't carry it into the.
But what's the? this is getting too deep into the like law.
You
know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
what he told me though was even with the enhanced carry, you can take it anywhere as long as it's concealed. They don't know about it, and if they find out about it, meaning it prints or you bend over and they see it, as long as you leave when they tell you to leave, then you're fine, right?
Yeah, most issues. Yeah, if you don't be
don't be an asshole about it. Which is stupid.
That I hate that when people try to
be an attorney, like you're in the just do what they say.
Oops, my bad.
Right.
Yeah,
right. For sure.
Well, where are the places that you can't carry it?
That's a long list.
There's courts.
You mean that with the enhanced?
With the enhanced, you can carry it in federal buildings.
Really?
I wouldn't go. You can't do it in a courtroom. I know that.
You can't do it in the courtroom.
Military base.
You can't do it in military base. That military bases is always going to be one of those. But I have to look into it because, being down here, I still haven't gotten my concealed.
And I don't want you to get any shit for this. So I don't want to answer that question. So we didn't answer that question. But I will say this: gun safety is important. Gun ownership, Second Amendment is it's a beautiful thing. Criminals don't respect laws.
No, they get them either way.
Right, and it's the good guys' responsibility, in my opinion, to know the laws, to practice gun safety, to teach gun safety, to teach. I think it's a civic duty, and then personally,
for your kids.
Yeah. One more thing. A lot of people, especially with the constitutional carry, they think that even if this again, it's not legal advice,
right?
This is so. I offer basically so U.S. Law Shield.
These are insurance.
The insurance. They're prepaid legal service.
Correct.
They can't call them insurances.
You're right. Okay, I didn't know that.
I do firearms legal protection. I do U.S. Law Shield. There's the USCAA. All these guys, I recommend, especially if you're going to carry,
have that
because it protects you financially.
Yep. And what he's talking about for people that don't know, it's a prepaid service that it's when you pay that fee, if something happens, if you have to use your firearm, even if you're legally you have the permits, you own the gun, you were justified in your mind for having to discharge that weapon. They're going to be a team of attorneys that are going to show up and help defend you because man, the civil lawsuits that can come from
it's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
It's the criminal. So the one that
what I'm saying is you could be criminally dismissed and then have a civil thing that you got to fight.
The one that I carry is the firearms legal protection. And that covers me, my wife, and my daughter up until she turns 18, because at 18 she can legally buy a firearm.
She has to get her own.
Obviously, a rifle and shotgun at 18. But it's not just like a handgun. So say my wife and daughter are out and about and one of these stupid No King rallies kind of pop up and they start banging on the windows or they break one of the windows. My wife's in fear of her life and she guns it in the car and she runs over one of them. Basically, so your car is kind of
considered a weapon at that point.
It's considered a weapon at that point.
Yep.
So anything that is considered a weapon they protect you with it, one of those things. Everybody just thinks guns, but no, it's any legal weapon.
Nice. Four-wheelers.
Well, another thing about
cars.
Think about it this too. Kids being bullied in school. I'm going to be one of those that a backpack is considered a legal weapon.
If you hit them with it, you mean? Yeah. I guess anything at that point can be a legal weapon. Yeah.
So if somebody lays hands on my daughter when she's at school and she happens to use her weapon,
backpack as a weapon,
with 3 big gigantic biology books in it.
Right. That's a weapon.
Yeah, exactly. So, and when little Tommy's mom wants to sue us because she broke somebody's nose, then I'm calling firearms legal protection. So, but it's definitely, I get that all the time. Well, it's a constitutional carry state.
There's a lot of nuance in that. People need to understand that. As we wrap this up, let's say it like this: gun safety is important. Second Amendment is super important. Chris, your store. I dropped the link in the comments down here below to your Facebook page. Is that a great way for people to get in touch with you?
Yep, that's a great way to get in touch with me.
Okay.
Easiest way, email or was Facebook?
Email, Facebook. Dude, it feels like I live at the shop.
Well, it's your life. That's your grind. You should be.
I just don't want to make it an idol. That's the one thing I don't want to do with it is make it an idol.
Right.
What's your hours?
Monday through Friday is 10 to 5:30. The website does say 6 o'clock, but if I haven't had anybody there from like 5 to 5:30, I'm usually not going to have anybody from 5. So there's no reason to pay another 30 minutes of electricity.
Yeah. Right.
Or if you got to do a podcast.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
wrap up early.
Either way, I'm glad. I was really excited that y'all called and said, hey, because I love talking about guns, obviously.
Yeah.
And just getting some exposure definitely helps.
We can tell that you do a lot for the community. I mean, you want to keep your money here. You've done it.
I just like that he says that when you come into a store, he's not trying to sell you a product.
Right. You're not a car salesman.
He's going to assess the person.
Yeah.
No, he's going to assess your level of training.
Well, that's why I have the transfer fees at $25, because I know, like, you got Grab a Gun out there, you got Bud's Gun Shop, you got Palmetto State Armory. I cannot compete with those guys.
PSA
prices.
is usually the cheapest. Yeah.
Those, and I will gladly take those transfers all day long.
Right.
If I can't beat their prices, I mean, by all means, go. But it does suck that, if you spend your money at PSA, it's going to South Carolina.
Right.
And, yes, $5 is staying here in the state, but me giving $50 to the church versus $5 is a lot better than or to St. Martin's girls flag football team or Tackle 22 fishing. That money stays here on the coast.
Right.
And then again, if basically that money stays here, it helps me grow. I get the range, and then I can start hiring people, especially some veterans, especially if I get that nonprofit thing going where I can hire veterans to take care of that stuff.
Yeah, we all grow together.
Yep.
Well, brother, we appreciate your time this evening. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Thanks for supporting everything you just named and being a part of, this
Thanks
community.
for bearing the storm to get over here.
Yeah.
It was rough.
Not great weather today.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I did see a Mercedes on the way that was half submerged.
Yeah.
On I-10, so.
And thank you for your service, too, man. We appreciate
absolutely.
that as well. Go check out his website. We just, like I said, I dropped the Facebook link down in the comments below. It'll be linked in the podcast if you're listening to it on a replay or something. Go check him out. Go check out his store. Yeah. I'm sure you got cool stuff in the store, man. Just go
take a look around.
Go strike up a conversation.
Yeah, I got some stuff. I got a little bit of stuff in there. Like I said, most of the stuff that's in the store right now is consignment. About the coolest thing right now that I do have in the store is I do have a Desert Eagle that I'm trying to sell for a gentleman.
There you go.
It's a 44 Magnum, and it does come with about 300 rounds of ammo with it.
Is it gold plated?
Yeah,
it's
right.
It's not gold plated. No. But that one right there is about the biggest one I have in store right now. Another unique gun that I do have that a lot of people don't know about. I have an FK Bruno. A lot of people, if you look that gun up, that's pretty cool little handgun. It's chambered in a 7.5.
Yeah.
That round can actually use in a handgun. It's a rifle cartridge that can hunt. You can hunt hogs with it.
Nice.
So it does.
That sounds awesome to shoot out of a handgun.
Yeah. So that ammunition is like $100 for 50 rounds.
No, it's expensive.
It's an expensive, but this one does come with a 10 millimeter barrel and a 9 millimeter barrel, so you can change it out.
There you go.
And it does come with 7.5 ammo with it. So
even better. Even better.
Yeah,
I like the bundle packages.
I was going to say, he's always running deals. I saw on your Facebook page. He's doing bundle stuff.
Did that one. If you have something that, if people want to know, like the price that you see on the website, I can't go through and change everything on the website.
Mm-hmm.
If you like pull up like rifles, there's like 5,419 rifles at my distributors right now.
Right.
I can't go through all of them and change the price. If I can give you a cash price and I can give you the regular price. If you use the cash price, obviously you don't get the discount code because you're getting cash and that's the best price I can do on it. I'm here to help you get protected.
Yeah.
The money will come later in life.
Yeah.
This is just to get the people protection and needing what they need.
Yeah. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all go check them out, man. You heard it from him right there. Click the link, go check out the store online, go walk in, talk to him. We appreciate
local.
That's right. We appreciate everybody watching on the lives, the replays, everything. Go download the Brown Water Banter app. We'll have this episode linked in there. All of our stuff's in there. All the weather, the app, everything. If you want to go out and hunt, fish, whatever, we got it linked in the Brown Water app.
All there.
That's right.